Hello, everyone. Welcome to Andover Cycling's Tour de France preview. I am Peter Wu. I'm a rising upper from Guangzhou, China.
Hey, I'm George. I'm a rising senior from San Francisco, California.
So, with the Tour de France coming up pretty soon, the 29th of August, we decided we would look over the routes, look over the teams that are competing, and choose our favorites for the Tour de France. But before we start, we're just gonna go over like the basic classifications of the Tour de France because they can actually get quite complicated. George, would you like to start with the yellow jersey, the most famous
Yeah,
one?
sure. So the yellow jersey, that's the jersey for the general classification. So basically, like after each stage, they take every rider's time to complete the stage, and whoever combined over all the stages does that in the least amount of time, they have the yellow jersey for that day, and whoever finishes with a yellow jersey wins the Tour de France.
Exactly. And then we have the green jersey, which is the jersey that designates the best sprinter. So basically, the first, second, and third person to cross a line at each stage gets a point. I mean, gets different number of points, and then the points are compounded over the 21 stages to add up to a total. And the person with the largest number of points wins the green jersey. And I should also mention that there are also intermediate sprints between in the middle of the stages, and riders aiming for the green jersey often go into breakaways to be the first to cross those intermediate sprints to gain even more bonus points. And over the last 7 years, Peter Sagan, the superstar in cycling, has been dominating the Tour de France green jersey.
Mm-hmm. And then there is also the polka dot jersey, which is for who's the best climber. So I think for that I want to say they do it for like the mountain stages or something. I
Yeah, so
believe.
I think they have checkpoints on the mountaintops, and whoever
Yeah.
first gets
So
to.
whoever gets the KOM fastest,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically they'll get some like points or something, and
yeah.
basically whoever's the fastest over all of those is the one who gets the mountain jersey.
It's like Tour de France Strava. It's super funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there are two more minor. Oh, there's another one. There's the young rider classification, which is basically the best rider ranked in the general classification that is under 25 years old. Yeah, pretty simple. And we also have the Combativity Award, and that's decided by a jury. So basically, he's like the most popular one of the Tour de France. Usually, it is given to the person that attacks the most, that is like always at the front of the race, very aggressive, and that's why it's called the Combativity Award. I think that's all, right, George? Is there anything else?
Uh, I think that's it.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
There could be some other minor ones, but like those are the big ones.
Yeah, those are the big classifications to Tour de France to keep in mind of. But really, most people who watch Tour de France just care about the yellow jersey. That's always
Yeah.
battle. So, okay. Next up, I'm gonna share the screen and we're gonna look at the route of the Tour de France this year, which is like one of the hardest, if not the hardest Tour de France in, I would say, in recent history, or you know, so here we have the map. And George, what do you think of it?
I mean, it's definitely not going to be easy. Like we've got in the first like week or so, or the first like between like the 29th and the 6th, there's three mountain stages already. That's
Exactly.
you're going to feel that. In total, there's eight mountain stages, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm counting them right, but that's a lot of mountain. There's like three three in a row, I think. Like stages 16, 17, and 18. It's pretty much just three mountain stages just back to back to back.
Yeah.
And that's like they'll be feeling it in their legs after that. Then
Yeah,
right after that, you got then right after that, that's like right going into the home stretch of the race. You got the flat stage from the next day, then you have an ITT, and then finally you get the last stage going into Champs Elysees, which I'm pretty sure is happening pretty much every Tour de France. It's kind of where it ends.
exactly. So I would say the thing that stands out to me about this edition of Tour de France is like how it's, I would say it's almost built for the climbers with so many mountain stages, no team time trial. And the only ITT we have, we can take a closer look at the individual time trial here. It's, where is the map? Show me the map. Here it is. Like the last 6 kilometer of it is an uphill time trial. So it's like, it's
And
almost
it's 6 kilometers at 8.5%.
eight and a half
That
percent.
is steep.
Anybody who rides bike uphill know how hard that is.
Yeah, if you ride a bike uphill, um,
Yeah, I mean,
no,
like
that's hard. If you don't ride a bike uphill all the time,
you just don't
trust
know.
me, that's really hard.
It's
And
death.
so it's kind of going to end up being probably a climber that wins that stage as well, just because like they have to do the 6K at 8.5%.
Exactly. That's what I thought. And it's like once they get rid of the ITT and the team time trial, it's like they're trying to diminish the advantage of the time trialists, like Tom Dumoulin and Primoz Roglic. They are very good time trialists, but they have no advantage over the likes of Nairo Quintana and Egan Bernal in this situation. Because normally, when there is a flat time trial or a flat team time trial, they can gain like 30 seconds to a minute on those stages. But here, it's like they'll have to fight it out in the mountains.
Yeah, I mean, like it's possible like they could go maybe really fast. Maybe over the first 30K, they'll build
Exactly.
up like a big gap, but then that gap could just they'll have to really fight through those last 6 kilometers to see
Yeah.
if they can maintain that, or at the very least, just get any sort of gap in general, because that that's a serious climb at the end of a TT. So
Exactly. And I also heard like this interesting discussion online about like you mentioned how the first 30 kilometers is relatively flat and then you have a 6 kilometer uphill.
yeah,
Some people are saying, would it be better if for the 30 kilometers they used a time trial bike, which is more aerodynamic but heavier, but then at the 30 kilometer mark, they get off the bike and get on a mountain bike, less aerodynamic but lighter, obviously better for the mountains. And they were wondering if such a bike change would help the overall time of the time trialist. What do you think, George?
I mean, like it could work, but I don't really like know for sure how that's gonna play out. It probably like makes more sense to stay on one bike because like a bike change is gonna take a while because you gotta stop, you gotta unclip, you gotta get off the bike, you gotta get onto the other bike, then you gotta clip back in, and then you gotta start going, and you don't have any momentum going into that climb. So that's probably gonna shave like at least a good like 20 or 30 seconds
Yeah, that's true.
off that. And the question is then really, is it worth are you either going to be 20 or 30 seconds faster over the 30 kilometers on a time trial bike, or are you going to be faster for 20 or 30 seconds on the climbing bike going up the hill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So, and I think it probably makes the most sense just to stick to one bike
Mm-hmm.
because then the logistics are going to be a lot like easier to deal with, as
Yeah.
well as like I don't think it's going to be like that significant of an advantage to be on a TT bike versus like a climbing bike. They're both going to be pretty light bikes, and they're both going to be fairly aerodynamic. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the TT bike's more aerodynamic, and the climbing bike is lighter. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how much that's really going to matter in this case.
Yeah, I'd say like the weight difference can actually be 1 to 2 kilos, which is
Oh, that's significant.
Yeah, that's significant over the course. But I think we're going to see teams making different decisions regarding this bike change. And as you mentioned, the logistics. I mean, like if all the teams decide to change, there will obviously be a congestion because they need the team cars at that specific location.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if any teams are going to change. Is it even allowed?
it is allowed. So
They can change the bikes.
they can. That
They
happened
can.
in the Slovenian national championships, and the winner Tadej Pogacar, he actually changed the bikes, and it was a similar course. I think a bit
Hmm.
longer, but similar course. So that's why people were talking about it.
But yeah, I guess if you're gonna go with a bike change strategy, then like you want to make it as quick as possible, and so you're just gonna have to basically like I guess you probably unclip before you get there, and then just like as soon as you stop, just get off the bike, like drop it, and get on the other bike and go.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think like even still, it's gonna take a total of like at least 15 seconds just to do that change.
exactly. Yeah, so I think this stage is super important because it's the penultimate stage of the Tour de France. And if the time gap in the general classification is not that wide at this stage, it could really be like a point where everyone is fighting to gain time here, and it could be like a super exciting stage to watch. I know I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna watch this entire stage from start to end. It's one of the
I'm gonna
highlights of the
gonna
tour.
watch it as well.
That's my call. It's gonna
It
be one
just
of the greatest stages.
it's really this stage is gonna be really exciting.
Yeah. So you definitely have to watch this. And yeah, that's basically the tour. Very a lot of mountains, built for a climber, and
Yeah, even the time trial is built for a climber.
yeah,
And is there no TTT?
there's no TTT.
There's no
Crazy.
TTT.
Yeah, team time trials. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's
Yeah,
this is really a climb heavy Tour de France.
yeah. Do you think that they're gonna start attacking each other on the second stage?
I mean,
The
I wouldn't
mountain
be too
stage.
surprised.
Yeah, but would they try to conserve energy? And because the last week you saw how hard it is, would they actually try
Yeah,
to,
yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
it could really go either way. I think it's kind of going to depend on like the beginning of that stage a lot and just sort of how it goes. Because I mean, are you going to be feeling like stage two, like 2 or 3 weeks later? You'll probably be feeling like the combined effects of all the other stages. But my guess is like the earlier you go, the less effect like that stage is going to have.
Yeah.
Granted, not going to be it's not going to be like easier in the later stages by attacking. Your legs are still going to be super tired because you've been working like pretty much like 3 weeks in a row. You only get 2 rest days in the entire tour,
Hmm.
and you're in the days that you're not resting, you're racing against like the best cyclists in the world.
Yeah.
So you pretty much have to be one of the best cyclists in the world in order to do it, which is kind of obvious, but
Yeah.
you
I
know,
still think they shouldn't attack on the second stage.
yeah, that's probably the wise thing to do.
It's too risky because I mean if they take a little risk on those descents and they crash out on the second stage, I mean, why take the risk, right?
Yeah,
So I think they should still use the conservative strategy and focus on the last week. That's my opinion.
yeah, I kind of agree with that as well. Especially because like that last week, you got mountain stage, mountain stage, mountain stage,
Exactly.
and I think flat stage, right?
Hmm.
And then you have the TT,
Yeah.
which had that big hill at the end, as we saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I want to say it's another flat stage, but still, that last flat stage is the last stage of the race. Everyone's going to be going as hard as they can. Everyone's going to be doing as much as possible. And after that, like after the three mountain stages and the ITT,
Hmm.
everyone's going to be cooked.
Exactly.
So I think it's going to make the most sense to be as not cooked as possible and take it relatively conservatively over the beginning part of the race.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's my opinion as well. So, shall we look at? Wait, let's discuss the issue of Team Ineos versus Jumbo Visma.
Yeah.
big issue here. I pulled up the start list right here. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Team Ineos, Team Jumbo-Visma, they're already lined together because it is my opinion that the winner is going to come out of these two teams. I
Oh
uh,
yeah.
I mean, just look at their composition, man. Two very strong climber teams built for the overall general classification. They're not sparing any sprinters at all. Well, you could argue that Wout van Aert is a sprinter on Jumbo-Visma, but he can also work in the mountains. So, I mean, which is your pick, George? Ineos or Jumbo-Visma?
I mean, this is probably like I honestly think that like the most likely scenario based on both like last year's tour and the amount of stage that we have, the amount of mountains that we have in this, I think Bernal is gonna do really well.
Okay.
I could definitely see him repeating last year for sure,
Hmm.
just based on like how he rides and just sort of how mountainous this tour is. I think it's a good chance that he does really well.
Okay. Cool. Well, since you went with Ineos, I'll just go with Jumbo-Visma then. I think my reasons are Jumbo-Visma has overall a better team composition. I mean, they've got Tom Dumoulin and Primoz Roglic. That's two Grand Tour winners between them. And then they've got like George Bennett, very good climber, second at Lombardia, I believe. And then Sepp Kuss, like the new American talent. He won the last stage of the Criterium de Dauphiné. They're just such a strong team. And we've seen that Primoz Roglic, he won the Vuelta and he can climb. So I'm going to go with Jumbo Visma.
Yeah,
But now we're
I
yeah,
think that's also a very fair pick. Like
yeah,
Ineos is pretty much like everyone's behind Bernal in that case, which
yeah,
makes sense because he's like young and he won the tour last year, so he's probably still like getting better.
yeah,
And speaking of like the whole everything behind Bernal, like they sort of moved their other two top cyclists, Chris Froome and Grant
yeah,
Thomas, to do different Grand Tours. Like I think Froome is targeting the Vuelta, I want to say, and then
yeah,
Thomas is going for the Giro, which
exactly.
I thought it was going to be interesting. I thought Froome was going to try to make like a comeback, like his last year with Team Ineos,
Uh-huh.
but but it looks like he's going to do the Vuelta this year, so that'll be exciting for sure. But
Exactly.
that also sort of does make it so that Ineos has like maybe like a weaker team overall. That said, it's probably everyone's going to be supporting Bernal because he's their best rider. So like
Yeah.
when you have the sheer number of people that Ineos has, it really kind of helps you out a lot.
Yeah, and Egan Bernal, like you never know. Last year he was always there up to the front. He never won a stage. And then stage 19, he just came out of nowhere and took the yellow jersey. So there's
Yeah,
always
it
that.
could happen.
He's got the resilience.
Yeah, that said, Jumbo Visma probably does have a much more well-rounded team. I mean, they have like two big name with Dumoulin and Roglic.
Yeah.
Is that how I say that name? But
Roglic.
and then with all that,
It's
they have a
Slovenian
fair amount of
name. I don't know.
talent
Yeah.
behind them. They have Van Aert, they have Cruz, as you've mentioned,
Mhm.
and I think gonna really that's really gonna I think make a difference in terms of how they're gonna do it. It'll be interesting to see. It's like the winner. I agree with your analysis that it's definitely gonna come out of one of those two teams,
Unless they crash. It's the tour.
unless like all of them crash.
Yeah.
If they all crash, then who's your pick?
Well, let's get to the next point. I did something fun. So we're
Yeah,
going to tier rank all the possible GC winners. I thought that would be interesting to do. You see
tier rank.
this?
All right, so yeah.
First, we have Adam Yates riding for Mitchelton Scott. He's a pretty good climber. He won the UAE Tour earlier this season.
Mhm.
Where do you think he fits, George?
I'm not really sure. He's kind of slipped under my radar mostly.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
mean, that's probably not a great sign for where he ranks, but
yeah. I don't think, personally, I don't think he's heading for a GC. I think he's hunting for stage wins at this Tour de France just because
Yeah,
there's so
that's
much competition up top. He's not gonna win.
if
So
you get a stage win, that's gonna really help get your name out there. And
yeah.
that's probably if he's
So I'm gonna put it in meh, or do I want him in top 10? I don't know.
maybe let's we can put him in meth for now, and then later on we can sort of move things around.
Yeah, yeah, sure. And then we have Alejandro Valverde. He was top 10 last year. So my opinion is that he's gonna be top 10 this year. What's yours?
That's not a bad analysis at all.
Yeah.
Top 10, possibly.
He's really old. He's like 40 years old. So
Oh yeah, that's true. That does kind of make it a little bit less easy for him, but I think that he could still.
yeah. He was second at the Vuelta.
Oh wow, yeah, okay, yeah. Then definitely keep him in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah. And Alexei Lutsenko. I mean, he's like Kazakhstani champion. He's a good climber, but not that great. So I'm gonna put it in meh. I just don't think he's gonna do that well. Yeah.
All right, Chris Froome. Is that
Absolutely no, because he's not going to the Tour de France. I
yellow?
think
He's
they're
getting the
screwed
yellow jersey this year. I'm calling it. He's getting the yellow jersey.
by not going. They're
He's
just getting it.
not going. The only way zero Tour de France time just because he didn't go.
Yeah, but all jokes
I mean,
aside,
he's not going,
I'm
sadly.
not going. I'm
He
sorry.
might be back next year with Israel Startup Nation.
Yeah,
But
yeah. They're building a pretty good team around him, so I think he might have a chance.
yeah,
I never rule him out. And then we have David Gaudu. I
yeah.
think he's a domestique for Thibaut Pinot, but but
But
he's
he's a domestic.
but he's also pretty good. He sticked with Adam Yates
Okay.
and Tadej Pogacar, but he's a domestique, so I'm not going to say he's going to top 10 because he's going to be
Yeah.
working himself out for Thibaut Pinot. So
I mean, if he's sticking with the two, like with like Adam Yates is in meh, so I mean, it kind of makes sense to put him in meh then too.
yeah. Um, well, Egan Bernal, do we have
Egan
to
Bernal.
argue about this one? I don't think
I
so.
think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna go on the yellow jersey for sure.
Yeah,
That makes the most sense to me, at least.
yeah. And then we have Emmanuel Buchmann, fourth at the Tour de France last year. Did very well at the Criterium de Dauphiné just last week. I would say he's going for podium. I think he has improved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
I
played
mean,
fourth last year. He's still pretty young.
yeah, and fourth in the Tour de France is already close to the podiums. If he had
Yeah,
maintained since last year, he'd already be close to the podium for sure.
yeah, cool. Enric Mas. Enric Mas. So this is interesting. He won the Tour of Guangxi last year. It's not a high-profile race, not a lot of competition, but I think Movistar has a drought this year. Last year they had Nairo Quintana, Mikel Landa, and Alejandro Valverde. This year they only have Alejandro and Enric Mas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's gonna go man. He's a good climber, but no, I don't think he's gonna go top 10. Yeah. And then
Let's see.
Esteban Chavez. I think he's also a stage hunter. Yeah. He's gonna, hunt for stage wins, and I don't think it would be smart for him to go for the GC, just giving the competition at the top.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of big names at the top, and so I think it's gonna be very difficult for him to
top 10,
on that front. But maybe he could get a stage or two.
yeah, we'll just put him there, and then we can adjust later on.
Yeah, we can always like adjust this. Right now, everything's in the meh category, so we might have to like spread it out against like the other couple of stages, but
Yeah.
the tiers, I guess. But
What about Geraint Thomas? Absolutely no.
Geraint Thomas, absolutely no. Funny how the only two people in absolutely no are like barring Bernal, like the two Grand Tour winners really that
Yeah,
are.
that's my fault. I forgot to update this tier list
Yeah,
after they got
it's
popped
fine.
out.
You didn't have that long. Like the news was fairly recent, I believe,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they
So,
weren't gonna race in the tour.
mhm.
But hey, it gives us some laughs while we're doing this list, and I think
Exactly.
that's always worth it.
Mhm. And then we have Guillaume Martin. I'm going to say top 10 because he was looking very good earlier this season. He stuck with Egan Bernal and Primoz Roglic on the climbs in the Criterium de Dauphiné. He didn't win, but he was in their group. So I think anyone who can stick with them is going to be top 10. That's my opinion.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you there. All right,
Mhm.
our next one, Alaphilippe, I believe.
Alaphilippe, yes. What do you think?
I mean, like, I'm kind of between podium and yellow jersey on this one. Like,
Really?
as for what he's going for, I think, like, I mean, last year he was like pretty much he was leading the yellow jersey up until Bernal came out of nowhere, stage 19.
Uh-huh.
So, and he was like really competitive last year. I think, like, realistically, like, it probably makes more sense for him to go for a podium, but I would really like to see him get his name into that competition for the yellow jersey, especially after he sort of like lost it last year. I think he might be really trying to get it this year just to have. So I think it's definitely could see him potentially, like, maybe like I think it's a lot less likely that either that he'll get the yellow jersey compared to Bernal or like Roglic or Dumoulin. But
Mhm.
I think there's still like a small chance that he could get it.
Yeah. Huh.
That
Interesting.
said, there's a I think there's a much higher chance that he gets a podium.
Yeah.
I think there's a very high chance that he gets a podium, but
Got it. Huh.
I think that he could fight. I think his name will be in the mix for the yellow jersey contenders, though I don't think he'll get it.
Uh-huh. I have like I have a different opinion because I think he's actually not that much of a GC rider despite what happened last year because like he was hunting for the stage win last year. He had no intention of getting into the yellow jersey, but he
Mhm.
did. And we know Alaphilippe. He's a fantastic rider. He rides with a lot of emotion, with a lot of panache, and people love him. And I think the yellow jersey on him and him being French, it was a lot. It gave him a lot of, um, like the responsibility of actually carrying to winning the yellow jersey because France has had a long drought and hasn't won the yellow jersey for a long time. But I think, I mean, this is just my analysis that what happened last year was completely unexpected, and that suited Alaphilippe. But this year, if a lot of people is going in with expectations on him, he's actually going to perform not as well as last year. And also judging from and last year going into the Tour de France, he's won Strade Bianche, he's won Milan San Remo, he's won Flash Guiani. He's basically won every classic out there. But this year he hasn't performed that well. Only second at Milan San Remo. So I don't know. He could be he could be the surprise factor. And
Mhm.
but just if we're looking at race results and just his specialty as a rider, he's really good on punchy climbs. I think I don't know. I don't think he will go that far.
Yeah, I mean, like, if he's good at the punchy climbs, or like over the long climbs, that's gonna be a big factor. I think so. I mean, could
You're
I
saying
think
podium.
I still think he could. Yeah, let's say podium on that because
Okay.
I think that's sort of kind of. I do think that we kind of agree that he'll be in the mix for a podium.
Yeah, he definitely will try to, go for a stage or two in the early stages. I think that's what he'll do in the
Yeah,
early stages. And if he gets in the yellow jersey again, I mean, maybe he could pull something off. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, like, he could do what he did last year and just take the yellow jersey and run with it
Yeah.
until the very end of the race. And like the three mountain stages happen this year, and then Bernal takes it. But
Yeah. Who
it'll
knows?
be exciting to see what happens from him for sure.
Yeah. And then we have Max Schachmann. He's a winner of Paris-Nice earlier this year.
Hmm.
Nope. I'm putting him in because he's a decent climber, but just not nowhere near Bernal and Roglic.
Yeah. Paris-Nice, I think that's I mean, that's a big race for sure, but it's like the Tour is a completely different animal.
Yeah, it's. I mean, he's a time trialist. He won the time trial. Well, he didn't win the time trial, but he put significant time into his contenders in Paris using the time trial. He's not going to be able to do that this time. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Miguel Angel Lopez, pure climber for Astana. I don't know. I mean, I think he's in the same category as Esteban Chaves. He's just not been on form lately. So, yeah, meh.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Mikel Landa. He was top 10 last year. And this year, Barra McLaren, his team, is going all out for Mikel Landa. They're supporting him completely. So I'm saying podium.
You think podium for him?
I think podium.
I mean, if the team's like completely around him, that's gonna help him out for sure. So
Yeah. I mean, last
yeah,
year was
podium. Very like definitely could see him working in that like top 5 as well. Like that could.
yeah.
I mean, we currently have 4 riders in the yellow jersey / podium category. Obviously, you can't have 4 people win for 3 races, but
Yeah.
like, I definitely see him competing for top for sure. So I
Yeah.
think podium's a good classification for him.
Mhm. And also we have Nairo Quintana. Oof, Nairo Quintana.
Quintana, he's a really good rider.
At
His
least
team,
podium. I think at least podium.
yeah, he could be fighting for that for sure.
Yeah.
That his team is like kind of like they're okay.
Yeah. I've actually looked into his team, and it's surprisingly good. I mean, just look at Iterra. They have Warren Barguil, polka dot jersey winner. They have his brother, Dyer Quintana, also a pretty good climber. He has winner Anacona, one of the best climbers of Colombia. And Diego Rosa, like former domestique for Team Sky. That just tells you how good he is. So it's actually
Oh
he's
yeah, so that's actually pretty good.
yeah,
They could actually like it's actually some serious firepower. They got said Barguil, that's he won the polka dot jersey some point in time.
yeah. I think it was 2017 or 2018. I can't remember.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well, still, and then Quintana as well. Like, and so you got like those 2 climbers. Those are big climbers then, and
exactly.
Nairo's brother, and then so yeah, that team actually seems a lot better than I'd first
Yeah, that's not, I
to
thought
conclusions. I think jumped to conclusions because I hadn't heard team until like last week.
yeah, and then I looked into it, and it's like, wow, this is a continental team, but it's definitely World Tour level, right? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Peter Sagan. I don't think
He's going for the green. He's getting the green. I think he's going for the green jersey. I don't think he's going for the yellow jersey at all.
yeah,
That's just not how he rides.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So Primoz Roglic, I'm putting in yellow jersey. He's my pick for the yellow jersey, so he's going up
He's
there.
definitely going to be fighting for it.
Yeah. And then Richard Carapaz, winner of the Giro d'Italia,
Oh, huh.
in the podium.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
if you want a Grand Tour, you're probably going to be fighting for podiums.
exactly. At least, if not for the yellow jersey, but I think he's
Yeah.
most there to support Egan, so
Yeah.
possibly get a podium for himself.
Mm-hmm.
We have Richie Port. I think his prime has passed. He's not going to win any Grand Tours. His specialty is in like 6 or 7 day racing, so I'm going to put him in May. And yeah.
Our mech category is huge.
Yeah, because like we can't decide between top 10 and May.
Are they going to be top 10 or are they going to be mess? We have like 2 people. We have 2 people in the top 10.
Yeah.
So we have 2 people get first place. A combined 5 people get second and third, and then these 2 guys get
Top 10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 between all of them.
Obviously, we're gonna move up some riders from mid to top 10,
Yeah.
just to make it look prettier, right?
Yeah.
We might have to move some riders from podium to top 10 as well. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe move like a rider or 2 from meh to absolutely no, just to make it look nice.
Yeah. And Rigoberto Urán, he was
Yeah.
top 10 last year, so top 10 this year. Infallible logic.
Yeah, that's sort of. I mean, you can't really go wrong too much with that logic,
Yeah.
unless they're like maybe like 50 years old. Like, in which case, how did they get top 10 in the first place? But
Yeah.
like generally the 1 year gap, like I think that's gonna. If you got top 10 last year, I think you're fighting for top 10 again this year.
Exactly. What about Roman Bardet? He was the polka dot jersey winner last year, so fairly good climber. I don't know about him.
I mean, if he's winning the polka dot jersey, there's a chance that could be what he's going for again.
Yeah. So
That said,
he's
he can also
not going for
that
G.
said, also with this like tour layout, it's super hilly, super mountainous. So so I think that like there's a good chance that he could maybe try to make something happen this year. I don't think he's in the running for the yellow jersey, but like I could definitely like see him maybe in the top 10 category.
Yeah, let's put him in the top 10. He's fairly like he's like no, not podium. You're not going to podium.
There, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like he's been pretty. I think he's been second in GC before or third.
Mm-hmm.
Recent years, he's just kind of dwindled. It's just sad to see some people not win the Tour de France when people thought they could.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Sepp
I mean,
Kuss.
you only have one winner every year, so
Yeah. Sepp
you
Kuss.
only have like a few chances really to
Uh-huh.
win the tour, and like Chris Froome has taken 4 of those chances from a lot of people, right?
I think this guy is just making the Tour de France not as exciting as before.
There should just be a general classification for everyone who's not Team Sky or Ineos now.
But this time, there's an actual challenger, which is why we're so excited about this
Yeah,
tour.
we have Jumbo Visma that's actually definitely I think has the ability to challenge for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we have Sepp Kuss. You should be very excited about this, George. He's been heralded as the next American Grand Tour winner.
Nice. That's awesome. That's the last wasn't the last American Grand Tour winner though. Like I guess Greg LeMond because Lance Armstrong didn't win a tour.
Yeah. Sad.
Lance Armstrong didn't win a tour.
I went to Lance Armstrong's house and saw him through the window.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Nice. Was he? Did you see his like fridge full of EPO or whatever? I don't know.
No, I don't think he does that anymore.
I mean, he doesn't have to. He's not cycling anymore.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell a story here. So I went to Aspen, and there's this huge climb called Independent Pass. It's 18 miles.
Oh yeah, I saw that on your Strava.
Yeah. And Lawrence Armstrong had a time on there, I think an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And, Armstrong's just not that fast now.
I mean, yeah, he's like almost 50.
Yeah.
Right?
Not
You're
that
not going to have the same speed when you're 50 when you were like 30.
Maybe I could beat Lance Armstrong's time and brag about it. So I went there, rode the climb, and it took me 2 hours and 10 minutes or something like that.
You'll get there eventually. I mean,
and then I looked at the time that Lance Armstrong rode the climb. It was 2013, peak Lance. So I'm like, okay, I get it.
Wait, put it in 2013.
Yeah, I thought it was like 2019. It was 2013.
Okay, that's why you didn't get that close. How long is the climb? Did you say like 18 miles or something?
18 miles, yeah. It's tough.
And like, what's the percentage on that? Like,
No, it's So the first part is like average 4%, but the latter half is like at 7%.
Oh, yeah, that gets so you basically are doing like pretty much flat for like 10 miles, and then the last like bit you last like 8 miles or so you go up 7%.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Uh-huh. Exactly. And then we have I don't, Seb Kuss. I'm gonna put him in top 10 just
Mhm.
because a lot of people is hyping him up.
Yeah, but the Jumbo Visma already has Demoulin and Roglic.
Yeah.
So
So
I think he's going to mainly be supporting them. That said, it's exciting to see what he can do.
okay. And then Sergio Higuita. Ooh, he's a good Colombian rider, like Nairo Quintana. I don't know if he's good this year, so I'm gonna put him in mid, but we're gonna adjust it.
All right.
Guys, like
We
I'm
need to
sorry.
adjust. It's like it's sort of we have very few people in the yellow jersey, which makes sense. I think that's good that we have as few people as you do in the yellow jersey. I just
Yeah,
think that our top 10 isn't looking quite beefy enough for it to really.
yeah, we need to put stuff in there.
Yeah.
Stephen Kreiswijk, I'm sorry, he's not going to the Tour de France. Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
he sadly like broke.
Broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
Can't ride a bike without your collarbone. Sorry. Tadej Pogacar, third of the Vuelta, so I'm putting him on podium.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this guy because he's 21 years old, super young, super promising rider for UAE Team Emirates. So
Mm-hmm.
our podium more than top 10. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
then
Well,
Pino, another podium. Tom Dumoulin, another podium.
Tom Dumoulin the podium.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to be working for Primoz Roglic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he's working for Primoz Roglic, then he doesn't have a lot of freedom to attack.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay. Now we adjust. I'm going to move Esteban Chavez up here. He was pretty good. Adam Yates. No, I don't want two Mitchelton Scott in one. Who will get top 10? Let's move someone from podium down to top 10. Mikel Landa.
Yeah. Who are you thinking? Oh yeah, that might make sense. I mean, he top 10 last year, and he's a lot better. But like, we have a stacked podium and a
Yeah.
stacked yellow jersey. We have like in the podium we have Dumoulin and we have Alaphilippe and
It's hard. I
Quintana
didn't move
and
everything
Pinot.
careful. I don't know. I just don't think like if you're not the leader of your team, it's just really hard to get on podium.
Yeah.
Unless you're Team Sky and you put Egan Bernal and Geraint Thomas on the same podium. But
Or
I
I
don't
mean, I guess Jumbo Visma has Primoz Roglic and Dumoulin as well. They
yeah,
can maybe do it as well, but
it's tough.
that tier list is looking pretty good. I mean, I don't think the absolutely no category really needs to have a lot of people in it either, because like pretty much like anyone who's like racing for the yellow jersey like technically has a chance.
Yeah, so
So
cool.
like the mech category is like people who, let's be honest, probably aren't going to win the. Okay, let's be honest, are not going to win the yellow jersey, but
Yeah.
they could do well. Peter Sagan is an absolutely no. He's an amazing cyclist, but he is not going to win a yellow jersey ever. And I don't think he intends to. I think full gas going for the green jersey again.
Yeah.
Like if this were like a green jersey classification, we'd probably have him up at the top maybe,
Yeah, exactly.
but it's not. This is classifying for the yellow jersey, which is the one that more people care about.
Yeah.
Not to delegitimize the green jersey, but yeah. So
I'm just gonna take a picture of that and that's our pick. That's Andover Cycling's pick for the yellow jersey. See,
Bernal or Roglic.
Bernal Roglic. It's actually pretty popular. Oh, I also wanted to show something really interesting. You know,
Yeah.
how people love to play some. Oh my God, this is blocking me. How people love to play some mind games. So I was stalking Primoz Roglic on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah, you know how he crashed in the Criterium de Dauphiné. No broken bones, but some bruises, and that can hurt his performance, right? So
Yeah.
what he said here is, did a little spin yesterday, spelled spin wrong. I honestly thought that I will feel better by now after the crash on Saturday, Criterium de Dauphiné. Let's see what upcoming days will bring. I am staying optimistic. And this is really interesting because so many interpretations, right? Is he telling the public to not put so much expectation on him? Is he like is he is he like try to fool his opponents into thinking he's weak so he can just sort of like attack and win? I don't know. It's a really
Who
interesting
knows? Or is he actually like, telling the entire truth here? Who knows?
yeah, it's like so many interpretations, which is why I needed to show it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
interesting for sure.
Cool.
So that crash does definitely, I mean, make it a little bit less likely in general for him to win.
Yeah.
That's not saying that he couldn't though. I think he's still like up there with Bernal.
Yeah. Just like the crash is just like one big variable that almost dissuaded me from supporting him because he looked pretty beat up. But I'm just gonna put my chances on him. I trust Primoz Roglic, Big Daddy, 30 years old, still at his prime, has experience, former snow skier. I don't know. Somehow that adds point. I don't know. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's go over the green jersey, polka dot jersey, and white jersey. Who's your pick for green jersey?
I mean, I don't think here I can really go wrong with Sagan. He's like won it
That was
pretty
7 times. Most.
7 times. He's just
Yeah, I would go with Sagan also, but I would just like to mention that Van Aert, he's looking fantastic this season.
yeah, he won Strade Bianche.
Bianchi and Milan San Remo and the first stage of Criterium de Dauphiné.
Yeah. Wasn't he like, am I getting this wrong? Wasn't he in like cyclocross at some
Like
point? Or?
three-time world champion cyclocross.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has a chance, but I'm still gonna go with Sagan. He's more experienced.
Yeah.
So maybe Van Aert in like 3 or 4 years, maybe. But Sagan, I think he's still gonna dominate.
Mm-hmm.
Your
It'll
choice.
be interesting to see
Yeah.
Bernard like get his name in the running for that.
Yeah. Polka dot jersey?
Polka dot jersey. There's a ton of good climbers here. So I think like the polka dot jersey winner is probably gonna be someone who ends up also doing really well in the tour.
Okay.
Could see like if we go back to that like tier list, I think like
So annoying this thing.
oh sorry, is being
Yeah.
there's some like spots like blocked off like on like the screen share.
Yeah, we have it here.
Well, so yeah, I could definitely see like pretty much any of these like really good climbers that like aren't maybe fighting for the yellow jersey have a shot at the polka dot.
Yeah. I'm
So
going
do
I'm going with Alaphilippe.
you think Alaphilippe's gonna get it?
Yeah. He might go for the polka dot jersey again. I don't know. He might go for the yellow jersey, but
Possibly. We could see Quintana do well in that
yeah,
regard.
I think Quintana's going for the yellow jersey though.
Yeah.
He's not gonna risk getting into breakaways. But Alaphilippe, he's just like such a flamboyant, such a
He's just gonna
he's just attack with no regard.
he's just gonna be a showman and go for the polka dot.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah, yeah. And what else?
I mean, there's what the white jersey.
White jersey. Egan Bernal. I mean, who else is gonna be?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there might not. The thing is that I think Egan Bernal's going to end up in the yellow jersey, so he'll technically be in both. But
Yeah.
he'll.
Well,
I don't think there's really any way it's not going to be Bernal again.
I have
Unless
to.
unless there's just like someone comes out of nowhere, like
It's going to be Bernal. I can't even imagine anyone coming out unless, again, Bernal crashes. So,
Yeah, that's the only way that someone else could win the white jersey.
uh-huh. And yeah, cool. That's pretty much all we have to talk about, I think, about the Tour de France, all the classifications, the routes,
Yeah,
our
I
pick
think
of the
that's
favorites.
it. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. This is our pick of the favorites.
Oh yeah, yeah,
We'll see how this turns out once September 20th, the Tour de France ends. We'll see
yeah.
how
We'll
much it's
see.
out right.
Part of me kind of hopes that we're a little bit wrong, but and we obviously have to be at least a little bit wrong because two people can't win,
Yeah,
six people can't podium. But
exactly.
I think this is mainly just in terms of like what they're realistically going to be fighting for.
Right.
So I think like what the podium's going to look like, and like what the actual podium's going to look like, probably like I'd pick like Bernal, Roglic, and like maybe Alaphilippe or something. I don't really know exactly.
My podium is going to be Roglic, Bernal, and I will go with Nairo Quintana. I think he
Yeah,
looks
that's also a good pick. I was kind of debating between him and Alaphilippe.
yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
It's been
thank you
pretty fun.
for doing this.
Cool. So stop sharing and we'll end the recording.